When's the last time any of us saw a picture of Deion Sanders in a high school? When's the last time we saw a picture of Deion Sanders at a high school game? When's the last time you saw a coach or recruit thanking Deion for coming to visit him? Have you ever seen one?
No. Grace, answer the question.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I was waiting for you, Grace.
Yes. Sorry. No.
I don't know if you read the column, but
I
the
did.
punchline in the column is at a certain point, Deion Sanders is going to have to stop being a celebrity and he's going to have to start being a coach. And if Nick Saban can get his ass on an airplane, Deion Sanders can. And there are certain things that you might say if you're a Colorado fan saying, hey, well, Deion Sanders is having some health issues that are making it hard for him to move around with his foot, or the ploy is to not go places to get people to come on an airplane to get to Boulder in order to meet him, because obviously getting to Boulder or getting prospects to come see the place is the number one battle for Colorado, and he uses his stardom as to his advantage. I just think that he is operating in a way that makes me feel like he is not going to be there very long. If you think that you are going to take 10 or 12 players only in the high school class and then try to mine the portal to improve your team, that seems like lightning in a bottle behavior. It doesn't seem like building a foundation for Colorado behavior. And that said, he took a lot of players in the portal last year, and, Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter obviously, stand on business, right? But can you name anyone else that is that good? Maybe their team is more talented than it was last year, but you're going to flip it again 2 years in a row. You're going to bring in 15 players, then one or none are top 100 players, and then be better next year when your offensive line can't block anybody. I thought that Deion Sanders, when I wrote a column earlier in the year saying that, 3-0 was proof of concept that he could get guys there, my understanding was that he was going to be in conversations with elite level top 100 players. And, Jordan Seaton visited. He's had some guys go out there and visit. But, this class isn't one 5-star flip away from being salvaged. There's no foundation here for excellence. And, Deion Sanders, I thought would be at least able to recruit, top 35 level. He's sitting 3 spots ahead of Colorado State in the rankings right now. And, Colorado's recruiting staffers are tweeting out, trust the process, and it's coming, and all the stuff that, but where? What's the pathway here? That's the thing I struggle with. I just don't see, they're not going to go flip. What were the numbers, Mitch? They're not going to go flip 17 players in this class. They're not going to go flip 8 players that are in the top 100 in this class. There's not a lot of people who are left. What is the path to excellence here if you're Colorado trying to build a foundation? I'm not saying he can't win 6 or 7 games next year if he brings Shedeur back and Travis is back and healthy, and you have Dylan Edward. They've got some dudes, but you're not building your offensive line in the portal. This is supposed to be a 3 or 4 year plan here, and he's treating it like it's next year or bust. It makes no sense.
Before we get to Manny and Grace, I want to throw out some numbers. Right now, their class ranks 64. There's 9 commitments. 3 of the 9 are blue chippers. A lot of times when we talk, we throw out the caveat, a class is ranked low because of its low numbers, and that's part of it. But to Ari's point, that's fine in June, even maybe August and September. But we're in almost December. So their average player rating of 89.94 is very solid. I mean, that's in line with maybe a class in the low teens or the high 20s.
But it's fake.
But it's just the numbers. It's hard to get to those numbers because there aren't available unless he flips 6 to 8 top 300 guys. He's not going to get there. And what's been notable, let me mention this, Ari, what's been notable for the listeners, is the recent flurry of decommits. That's why it's kind of in the news. Danny O'Neal, his 2024 quarterback from Indianapolis, he's I think in the 500s. He's a 3-star, wasn't a huge recruit, but Deion's first hand-picked, or maybe Sean Lewis's first hand-picked quarterback commit. He decommitted and then had a rash of 2025 guys. Antoine Hill, a quarterback from Georgia who was a top 100 player. Winston Watkins, a 5-star, or actually he was a 5-star when he committed. I think he's 102 now, from Florida. And then a running back, Jamaris Wilder, running number 591. So that's kind of why he's in the news right there. So let me get to Manny. Just your overall thoughts on this and what we've seen. And do you agree with Ari and I? It's almost to the point where it's not salvageable just from a number standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, tremendous job by Ari, by the way, on that column. I thought it was very well done and very smart. as a guy who advocated for Texas A&M to hire Deion, I probably shouldn't be talking much. But listen, I think Deion's in a situation where, as a former, NFL superstar, Hall of Fame type player, he needs to be at a better school to have the kind of success that he wants to have, right? A school that sort of recruits itself. And Colorado isn't that. And this is a much tougher job where you've really got to go out and put the effort in. And it's clear that he's not taking photos at high schools with high school recruits. He's not doing everything that needs to be done at a place like Colorado to win and change the culture. Did he do a good job in the portal bringing some big name kids in? Sure. But I mean, his actions as far as the future and the way that he sort of treated this job going into year two, to me, it's every indication that he's not heavily invested in the program there. And maybe this was just about going to a Power 5 program so he could coach his sons and trying to parlay that into another job. And right now, he's not going to do it because I don't see who is going to hire him if he's not going to put in the kind of energy that you need to put in to resurrect a program like Colorado. Maybe at Texas A&M, it would have been easier. Maybe a place like that where you can have awesome coordinators and assistant coaches and all kinds of money to spend on guys and a real NIL collective, it would work there. But at Colorado, this approach just isn't working.
Grace, there's I think it was a story you worked on with Audrey last year. What was it? Was it like rock star coaches coming to high school and what the reaction was? And I think there was this anecdote when Ari was writing, when I was editing Ari's story and we were talking about it, what I was thinking about. And I think it was from this story, but it was like Nick Saban with a high school coach in the middle of Alabama, the coach was driving Saban to a small town airport and it was pouring rain and Saban had to take a personal call. It was like a current player announcing he was going to come back or not. And Saban, this isn't the point, but Saban looked at the guy like, I need a second. And the high school coach gets out of the car in the pouring rain, standing by with his umbrella while Saban talks to the kid. But the point is that Nick Saban's in a car in the pouring rain in the middle of nowhere on the way to on the way to an airport, on a recruiting visit, and this is the type of stuff we don't think Deion's doing.
You cannot half-ass it. I don't care if you're Michael Jackson. Like, he's famous, but you have to do the job. And like Manny, I agree with you. Like, okay, put him at Texas A&M with the NIL and all that stuff. I'm sure the recruiting results are different, but I don't care if he was a Super Bowl champion or a famous person with diamond turf shoes. You got to do the job in order to be qualified for another job. He's not doing the job the way that it needs to be done. Now, listen, I understand that when you're at a place like Colorado, that recruiting at a high level is very high or very, very hard to do. I'm not even advocating for him to have a top 30 class. I'm advocating for him to go do the job. And however it happens, it happens. And I actually feel like if you cared about the foundation of Colorado's program, you would want to get out of this cycle of flip roster, win a little bit of games, flip roster, win maybe one or two more. You want players to come in who aren't just treated like commodities, or players who are there for 2 or 3 years who get actively better and then morph into something great. Like, that's the whole epitome of what it is to run a college program. And I know we're getting away from it, but what about all the, we lose track sometimes too. It's like top 100 players, 5-star prospects. It's like, yeah, those are the headliners, but like, what about the top 400 player who's got an offer from Auburn, Florida State, Iowa, Michigan State, and Stanford? Like, is Colorado going to get in the mix with that kid? It's not just like 5 stars. They're not getting anybody like that. They got 3 out of 9, you said?
Yes.
They have a kid that they offered from Denver who went to Northern Illinois. Like, that's crazy. That's like, I don't know. But Ari, my question for you would be like, are you surprised given what we know about Travis Hunter's recruitment? I always thought that was like not the flex that Deion thought it was. Like, oh, never rolled up to his high school. Like, should we be alarmed? Yes, but I don't know that we should necessarily be surprised.
I feel like a fool because I think I drank the Kool-Aid too quickly. I thought of Deion Sanders approaching recruiting the way that Nick Saban and Kirby Smart do, and I forgot about how freaking hard it is to do that. To be maniacally obsessed with it in a way where it's all you think about all the time. Like, I think that there's a certain, I don't know if entitlement's the right word, but expectation that Deion Sanders is going to get results because he's Deion Sanders. And it's like, there's nothing about Deion Sanders' persona that would be appealing to a left tackle. You know what I mean? But you need left tackles to win big. There's nothing appealing about Deion Sanders to a defensive end. I mean, he's a star, but like he played before all these kids were even functional enough to like remember him. Like there has to be more substance to it than just I'm prime time. My prospects' parents looked up to me and loved me when I was a player. Like you got it. Like being a college football coach, we always say it on Stars Matter all the time is what 80% recruiting.
And recruiting is hard.
Of what he's done is recruiting,
right?